Okay, imagine this. Have you ever heard of a dog who wasn't just, a pet, but a real celebrity, a social critic even, a city's good luck charm?
Hmm.
A dog whose death caused actual national mourning and whose story is still talked about today.
It sounds almost unbelievable, doesn't it?
Right. Well, you're about to. Welcome, everyone. We're doing a really fascinating deep dive today into 19th century Madrid and this truly extraordinary street mutt who somehow adopted an entire city. His name was Paco.
Yeah, and our mission today is to really dig into the sources. We've got newspaper clippings, historical articles, things written more recently, too.
Yeah.
We want to figure out how this, well, simple stray dog became one of Madrid's most famous personajes, real public figure.
Exactly.
And why his story still resonates today, how it's kind of woven into the city's identity.
And I'm really interested to see what kind of aha moments pop up from these sources. I mean, stories about his taste in theater.
Right, his critical review.
Yeah, and apparently a, let's say, developed taste for cognac. This dog was definitely something else. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So we need to set the scene first. Madrid, late 1800s. It's bustling, full of life, but also, like many cities back then, had its share of stray dogs.
Common sight.
And amongst them was Paco. Now, the sources are pretty upfront about it. He was just a plain mutt. Medium-sized, black, or maybe black and white, with a white patch on his chest, some say.
And not exactly a looker by pedigree standards.
No. Described as kind of ugly, even with a shamelessly curled tail, and apparently always scratching at fleas.
Yeah.
Not exactly aristocracy.
Definitely not. But his whole life changed with this one really lucky encounter. Picture Paco, right? Just a hungry stray wandering into the Café Fornos.
Okay, Café Forno.
Yeah, a really popular place, packed with artists, politicians, intellectuals, the Madrid scene.
Right.
The exact date is a bit fuzzy in the sources, maybe late 1877, maybe 79. But the key thing is, a nobleman, the Marqués de Bogaraya.
Gonzalo de Saavedra y Cueto.
That's the one, described as this eminent benefactor. He sees Paco, takes pity, and throws him a bone, or maybe some roast meat.
A simple act of kindness.
It was. And apparently, it happened on the feast day of San Francisco de Asís, St. Francis of Assisi. So the Marqués, charmed by this dog, names him Francisco.
Which naturally became Paco.
Exactly. And it's a neat little detail, that St. Francis is now the patron saint of nativity scene makers in Spain. Kind of foreshadows Paco's later connection to Madrid traditions.
Huh. Interesting. So Paco starts hanging around Café Fornos more often.
Oh, yeah. His visits became super regular. He knew he'd get a bite to eat, a few pats. He became, as the sources say, practically a fixture.
The waiters got used to him.
Totally. Instead of chasing him off, they'd be like, here's Paco again. Or, come here, Paco. Good boy. They grew fond of him.
That's nice.
And Fornos, famously, never closed. So Paco just decided, yeah, this is home. He started sleeping there overnight.
Smart dog. Better than a cold doorway.
For sure. He'd curl up under a divan. Found his spot.
So he's got his foot in the door, literally.
Right. But it's more than just finding food and shelter. This was a street dog getting into one of Madrid's exclusive spots.
Yeah.
This was the start of him becoming this public figure, this personae. Yeah, it wasn't just about survival anymore.
Okay, so he's in with the cafe crowd, but it sounds like his fame spread way beyond that, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He started making friends with these influential swells, the real cream of the Spanish aristocracy.
So basically, Paco had connections.
Big time. And because of that, the sources say no doors were barred to Paco.
Seriously. No doors, like anywhere. What does that actually mean?
It's pretty incredible. We're talking theaters, circuses, bullfights, fancy gardens. Basically, anywhere his high society friends went, Paco went too. Nonchalantly just strolled right in.
And nobody stopped him. No ushers, no guards.
Nope. Apparently, no doorman, usher, or guard ever denied the privileged pooch entrance. It wasn't sneaking in. He'd just walk in and, get this, sometimes lounge on chairs like any other guest.
He's acting like he belongs there because, in a way, he did.
Exactly. He was accepted. More than accepted. Celebrated.
Which leads to this amazing part about him being a social critic. He wasn't just hanging out.
Not at all. He paid attention. He'd sit in the aisle at plays, watch bullfights with great interest. And apparently, his critical sense developed marvelously.
Okay, so how did this work?
Well, if the play was good, the actors talented, the bullfighters brave and skilled, Paco would just sit there, silent and motionless.
Poet approval.
Yeah, sometimes people even thought they saw him nod his head, like in silent canine approbation.
Huh. Okay, but what if he didn't like it? This is where it gets really interesting, right?
This is the amazing part. If Paco thought a performance was bad actors overacting, bullfighters clumsy, he'd start to growl, just low at first,
Uh-oh.
and then it would build until he was barking wildly, full-on protest.
Wow.
And this wasn't just, background noise. His barking was a signal. It was invariably followed by the discontent of the public. People would start booing, whistling, stamping their feet,
All egged on by Paco.
all while Paco kept barking his head off. He was their mascot, their furry critic. There was even a bullfighting magazine, La Lidia, that joked Paco fought better than the bullfighters.
That's incredible power for a dog. He's basically shaping public opinion in the moment.
It really gives you a sense of Madrid back then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Paco became this unofficial, maybe the most trusted art and performance critic in the city, and definitely feared.
I bet. Actors and bullfighters must have been terrified of that bark.
A four-legged critic they couldn't ignore. He demanded quality.
But despite all this fame, all this access, he was still fundamentally a free spirit, wasn't he?
Absolutely. That's a key part of his story. He had plenty of offers for warm beds, comfortable homes.
But he wasn't having it.
No. He fiercely treasured his freedom. Didn't like domestic life. The legend goes if someone tried to keep him, even with good intentions, he'd just refuse to eat or drink until they let him go.
Stubborn.
Totally. He preferred sleeping rough near the tram station, apparently, even in the cold and rain. As one Spanish paper put it really nicely, Paco chose the cold and rain rather than a golden cage.
That says a lot. People must have admired that independence.
They really did. And it connects to his famous friendships, too, like with the bullfighter Fresquelo.
The top torero.
One of the very best. Fresquelo genuinely believed Paco brought him good luck. Paco would ride in the carriage with him to the bull ring.
No way.
Yes. He'd even wait outside Fresquelo's house on Calle de la Cruz for like an hour before the fight. It was a real ritual.
That's amazing.
And get this, the newspapers would actually announce if Paco was going to be at the bullfight, just like they'd announce if the king was attending.
That shows you his status. He wasn't just a dog. He was an event.
Precisely. Deeply woven into the city's fabric, from the highest society to the everyday streets.
So beyond the serious critic stuff, he had his quirks too, right? Like his eating habits.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't picky. Ate pretty much anything people gave him. Nuts and sweets from stands in Ritura Park.
Joining in meals after the bullfights. A real foodie in his own way.
A dog of the people. And speaking of tastes.
Ah, yes, the drinking story. This I've got to hear properly.
Right. So the sources mentioned Paco was not beyond taking a drop of wine every now and then either.
A bit of wine. Okay.
But the famous story involves Fresquelo again. After a successful bullfight, they go to the Café Inglés.
Naturally.
And Fresquelo would order a glass of cognac for me.
And another for my friend here, meaning Paco.
Meaning Paco. And apparently Paco would just lap up the cognac from a glass or saucer without spilling a drop.
Not kidding.
Not according to the stories. He was even supposedly seen leaving the cafe afterwards, maybe swaying just a little, zigzagging to the door.
Oh, Paco, what a character. A true Madrid legend. But sadly, this sort of wild, free life, it didn't end well, did it?
No, it didn't. His libertine life, as one source calls it, was cut tragically short. A really brutal end, actually.
Yeah, tell us about that. It happened at a bullfight, right? But not a major one.
Right, it was a third-rate noviata. So young bulls, amateur matadors, not the top tier. Sources put it in May or June of 1882.
Okay.
And this one amateur, Jose Rodriguez, they call him Pepe El de los Galapagos, was just terrible. Apparently making a mess of his bull, really clumsy, hacking away like a butcher.
And Paco, the critic?
Paco was there, naturally, and he was furious, barking himself hoarse at this awful performance.
So he did what he did best.
He jumped into the arena, ran right up to Rodriguez, barking right at him. Some accounts say he even ran between the guy's legs, maybe tripped him.
Oh, dear.
And Rodriguez just snapped. He was furious at the bull, the booing crowd, and especially, it seems, at this relentlessly barking dog.
What did he do?
He turned his sword on Paco and just ran him through. One thrust.
No, it's horrible.
Just awful. The crowd went absolutely insane.
I can only imagine they loved Paco.
Loved him deeply. The fury was so intense, the sources say Rodriguez would have been lynched right there and then if the police hadn't stepped in.
What?
They had to escort him out under guard to save him from the mob.
And Paco, did they try to save him?
They did. People rushed to help, tried to treat him. But the wound was too severe. He died a few days later.
God, the whole city must have been heartbroken.
It truly was. His death was described as a veritable day of mourning in Madrid. People Women especially were crying in the streets.
Just devastating.
The newspapers dedicated huge amounts of space to it, writing these very sentimental pieces. And the story, the tragedy of it, it wasn't just street gossip.
It went higher.
Oh yeah. It was discussed in the Cortes, the Spanish Parliament, at the Ateneo, that intellectual club, in the learned academies, even apparently in the royal palace.
The death of a street dog discussed at the highest levels of the country. That speaks volumes.
It really does. He wasn't just a dog. He was Madrid's dog.
So how did they make sure he wasn't forgotten?
Well, first, his body was actually embalmed and put on display for a short time.
Really? So people could say goodbye.
Seems like it. A way for the city to kind of celebrate him one last time. Then he was buried.
Where?
In Retiro Park, a place he apparently loved, in a flowery plot. Though, sadly, the exact spot is lost to time now.
But his story lived on.
Definitely. Through songs, articles, word of mouth. There was even a newspaper named after him for a while. His legend was cemented.
And incredibly, it still lives on. There's a statue now, right? Put up just recently.
That's right, in 2023. A proper monument. There's a slight confusion in our sources about the exact spot. One says Calle de las Huertas, another says Calle de Alcalá, which was definitely one of his regular streets.
Either way, a statue exists. That's fantastic. What does the plaque say?
It reads, "To the dog Paco, a genuine and unique canine of Madrid's local history, a cherished friend of the writers, artists, and personalities of the late 19th century."
A fitting tribute.
And there's another connection. He's even included in sets of Galdosian nativity figures.
Like related to the novelist Galdós.
Exactly. Linking him right into Madrid's Christmas traditions. It shows how deeply embedded he became in the city's culture.
It's kind of like those other famous loyal dogs, isn't it? Like Hachiku in Japan or Greyfriars Bobby in Scotland.
It really is. Different stories, obviously, but that same core idea that loyalty needs no words. Paco wasn't loyal in the traditional pet sense, maybe, but he was loyal to his city, his freedom, his critical standards.
True. He absolutely charmed Madrid and carved out this unique place for himself.
He really did. Became a symbol.
So I guess when you boil it down, Paco's story just shows you don't need royal blood or a fancy pedigree to capture a city's imagination, do you?
Not at all.
Sometimes all it takes is, I don't know, love, a bit of adventure, and that fiercely independent spirit.
Yeah, and beyond just the charm, his story tells us something important, doesn't it? About how animals can connect with communities on a really deep level.
Becoming symbols of things like freedom, integrity.
Even cultural identity. He reflected something about Madrid itself.
That's a great point. His story is like a window into the Madrid of that time. Not just about a dog, but about the character of a city that could embrace such an independent, outspoken character.
A city that appreciated a discerning critic and a loyal, if occasionally tipsy, friend.
So maybe for you, listening out there, whether you're exploring a city yourself or just, looking around your own neighborhood, Paco's tale is maybe a nudge to look for those unsung heroes.
Yeah, the unexpected connections, the surprising characters that really give a place its soul, they're often not the ones you expect.
Right. The best stories can come from anywhere.
Which, I suppose, leaves us with a question, doesn't it? In a world where we often try to control things, to tidy everything up, what else can we learn from that free, untamed spirit of a street mutt like Paco? The dog who, after all, chose the cold and rain over any golden cage. What does that kind of freedom really mean?